Hi, I'm Phil from Team Cerberus, and I miss fighting robots. Robot Battles at Dragon Con 2015 was my return to robot combat after about an 8-year hiatus from the hobby. Since then, Robot Battles at Dragon Con has become an annual tradition I look forward to every year. And, like pretty much everything else in 2020, it's canceled this year. So, since I can't go and compete and do a full event report like I'd love to, I'm going to kind of do a tribute to Dragon Con and Robot Battles, and I'm going to try to do something that's like half guide to the event, half love letter to the event, and just kind of share my experience that I've had over the last few years, because it is a very unique event and significantly different from a quote-unquote standard robot combat event. And just for the sake of transparency, I should say I have no affiliation with Dragon Con or Robot Battles. All these opinions are just my opinions, and I'm going to try to be as accurate as possible, but if I do screw anything up, that's just my own fault, and I apologize.
Before we can really discuss Robot Battles, we need to talk about its host event, Dragon Con. Dragon Con is an annual convention held on Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's technically still officially a 4-day convention, but the con seems to be slowly creeping into starting on Wednesday rather than its official Thursday start date as of late. Dragon Con is like a bunch of small cons all wrapped into one, with different tracks for specific interests ranging from animation to British TV shows to horror movies to puppetry to robotics. Dragon Con offers multiple tracks for different varieties of makers, so even if you're not into standard pop culture convention fare, there's still a ton to see and do. Since the time I've been attending the con has coincided with the current return of Battlebots to TV, the robotics track has contained a lot of Battlebots and robot combat related panels, hosted by many of the teams that have appeared in both the modern and classic incarnations of the show. When the show's airing lines up with the dates of the convention, they have held watch parties, and getting to watch brand new episodes of the show in a room full of bot fans and builders is a fantastic experience and one I look forward to each year.
And the list goes on.
Also, we've got the battle for Chinese bragging rights. All the way from Shanghai, Railgun Max is here. They're facing off against another bot from the People's Republic, Wahoo.
Programming for the convention is spread across the whole weekend, so I'll typically get a weekend pass. Robot Battles itself is spread across 2 days, Sunday for the 1 and 3 pound bots and Monday for the 12 and 30 pounders. You will need at least a day pass for the convention for the day you plan to compete on in order to enter the event. Robot Battles, run by event organizer Kelly Lockhart, bills itself as the second oldest continuously running robot combat event in the world, starting back in 1991, basing their event on the Critter Crunch event held at Mile High Con in Denver since 1987. Robot Battles started off holding events deep in the bowels of one of the Dragon Con hotels, but over the years have moved on to holding their events in the massive ballrooms of the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. In my time attending the event, it's very common to see a packed house of both spectators and competitors for the fights. Kelly prides himself on having a very short set of rules for the competition, clocking in at just around 1 page. This is a stark contrast to the many rule sets I've seen in the past, especially the Battlebots IQ rules that printed off like a small textbook. They are able to maintain the short rule set realistically due to the nature of the robot combat community itself, but also ostensibly through their 3 spirit rules. Number 1, the bad idea rule. If, during the design of your robot, you think something is a bad idea, then just don't do it. 2, no cheating. This covers spirit of the competition type violations. And, saving the best for last, number 3, the Frankenstein Rule. If a vehicle proves sufficiently offensive to the audience may, at their discretion, light torches, take pitchforks in hand, and throw the robot and its operator in the nearest creek or large body of water. As Kelly will recount at every event, this has apparently been invoked just once. I wish I had been there to see it. The Antweight and Beetaweight fights take place on Sunday morning. In the time I've attended, I believe this has always been held in the International Ballroom in the Hyatt Regency Atlanta Hotel. On more than one occasion, I've had a little difficulty finding this room. Upon entering the main lobby of the hotel from the front entrance, make an immediate right, go through the hallway to the International Tower. 1 level down, you will find the International Ballroom. This sounds simple, but after running around on little sleep, too much alcohol, and bad food for the 3 days prior, I often find myself looking for this room in the main part of the hotel by mistake. No pre-registration is typically needed, just show up with your robots. The The event starts first thing in the morning, and I highly recommend showing up early. Anyone who's ever been to a robot event knows check-in can be chaos, and being able to get there with plenty of time to unpack, set up, and check in is a definite benefit. For check-in, a form needs to be filled out for each robot with basic information like the robot name, team name, the driver, and an open section to fill out information about the robot itself. Teams are limited to 1 robot per weight class per driver, but I believe somebody once got around this rule by entering a Roomba as a 12-pounder since technically it was its own driver. But for the most part, this rule keeps the field of robots somewhat limited so the event can go on within the allotted time. In prior years, check-in was relatively simple and relied mostly on the honor system. In 2019, there was a more formal check-in with a standard weight and safety checks. In previous years, I was a bit taken by surprise by the lack of formal check-ins, so I'm really glad they're moving in this direction. Because rooms need to be changed quickly for new panels and events at Dragon Con, Robot Battles moves at a pace that can make other bot events feel like they're happening in slow motion. For insect weight bots, the event has 2 fully enclosed arenas, one for ants, one for beetles. Both arenas contain a pit, and at least one of them contains a circular merry-go-round of death hazard in the center.
Awesome!
The judges sit in between the 2 arenas and fights alternate from one box to the other. This format allows the next match to be queued up and ready to go while the current fight is still happening. Robot Battles is also amazing about keeping the next 2 fights per class informed and ready to go. Single elimination brackets are used, however, I've never actually seen the brackets posted anywhere. This doesn't mean they aren't, but I've just never seen them. Because of this, I often don't have a chance to really form a strategy prior to a fight. I just get the bot ready and see who I'm about to go up against as the fight's about to start. The insect weight fights are relatively standard for what you'd expect at any similar robot event. With the fully enclosed arenas, normal robot combat weapon types can be employed, and you will often see bots that you will encounter at plenty of other events. The fights are projected on either side of the stage on large screens, making viewing from the pits relatively easy. As soon as the fights end, it's typically a mad dash to get the pits cleaned up and the arenas broken down and moved out. The room must be cleared for the next thing coming in, so running over is never an option. I can honestly say that being able to fight robots on a Monday is a rarity on its own. The 12 and 30 pounders fight in the Regency Ballroom of the Hyatt Regency Atlanta on Monday morning, and this ballroom is much easier to find. Simply walk in the front of the hotel, go down a level, and head to the back right corner. Check-in is similar to Sunday, and once again I recommend getting there early. I believe this event typically starts a bit later than the Sunday event, so you can maybe get a little more sleep that morning. Who am I kidding? Nobody actually sleeps at Dragon Con. The thing that makes the 12 and 30 pounder fights interesting is that these are tabletop sumo style fights. No high-speed spinning weapons allowed, no Lexan cage. Just some bots on the most beat up stage risers in Atlanta with a large open space and a wall of tables to shield the audience. This may sound a bit scary, but with the way the stage is laid out, these safety precautions actually work quite well. The only real worry is for those on stage. When a bot gets pushed off the stage, you as a driver may find yourself needing to jump out of the way.
1, 2, 3,
Fights are best 2 out of 3 bouts, with the goal being to push your opponent off the stage. If you drive your bot off the stage before the robots actually make contact, the match is restarted, but once contact is made, all bets are off. Because of the limitation of robot designs for this event, many of the robots are purpose-built for robot battles. This leads to some amazing and amazingly silly robot designs. Obviously, wedges and other push bots abound, but you'll also see a variety of lifters, clampers, flippers, and even slow-moving rotational devices used to get the upper hand on their opponents. While many competitors show up with well-armored, refined designs that would be competitive anywhere, others decide to use this event as an excuse to bring the weirdest thing they can build. Over the years, I've seen everything from a cat on a litter box, to a dumpster fire, to a doll with a baseball bat. Last year, some idiot actually brought a drug-addicted alligator with a lawn flamingo. As with the smaller bots, this event is also single elimination. While there's only one arena, or tabletop to be precise, the fights typically go by quickly. The event typically caps off with 4 rumbles. 1 rumble per weight class for everyone who lost in round 1, and another one for anyone who wishes to participate. It's not that uncommon for arena hazards to be added for these rumbles. Sometimes it's a toy tribble, sometimes it's literally all 250 pounds of overhaul. I feel like anything I'm going to say about this event comes up short in conveying the joy the Sunday competition brings me. I've always been a fan of a certain level of stupid in robot combat. I love seeing meticulously designed robots work as super effective destruction machines, sure, but the root of the hobby lies as much with special effects creators bringing their skills and style to the arena as it does with actual engineers. Building something that's more form than function can typically be a death sentence at a more typical event.
Mobile Arena has, it gave birth.
You kind of have to resign yourself to knowing your moving art exhibit is likely going to be torn to shreds. But at Robot Battles, you can actually kind of get away with it. And I absolutely adore that you can.
Well, that just about does it for my tribute to Robot Battles at DragonCon. It's definitely sad, but totally understandable that the event had to be canceled this year. But hopefully we'll all be able to get together on Labor Day weekend in 2021 and fight some robots again. If you've never been to Robot Battles, I hope this video was informative and tempted you to come out and give it a shot. It is definitely a crazy time, but a very, very fun one. So, until next time, I'm Phil from Team Cerberus, and apparently I can't write a script correctly because I literally just said I'll see you next time twice.